Good morning, everybody. It's bowl season, college football bowl picks. I'm Mark Drumheller. I'm here with Dave Gleckner, powered by the Sharp app. Guys, if you don't have the Sharp app downloaded, go download that today. Join the free Discord. The link is in the description. It's going to be a lot of fun with all these bowls coming up. We got about 6 or 7 lined up for today. Dave, I cannot wait for the action.
I know, it's great. This Saturday, what do we got? 5 on the billet, and then last night started 2 great bowl games. That Coastal was fun last night. I think it ended in a wrong way. I think the refs were lost, but you can't call it out of bounds and say clock's running after that. It was fun.
It was an interesting game. I was on the wrong side of that one. Had Coastal -9, got a great number, 3 points of CLV right down the toilet. Didn't go our way, but it was definitely an exciting game. And on that last play, Dave, I was kind of talking about this with Lexi, backstage previously. How do you not throw that ball in the end zone? Like, what are you running that play for in that spot? I get that, the refs were a little confused or whatnot, but you just got to. I mean, I think that's pretty aggressive to think that you're going to be able to run that and get off another play.
Well, I liked it because it was 4th and 1. They were trying to throw to the sticks outside, so they had maybe one more shot at the end zone. So you're trying to get 2 plays. If you go incomplete the end zone, clock stops with 3. You don't have another play. So that's what I didn't want. And then maybe you get lucky and he turned it up. I was more. I thought the 3rd down play was actually really bad, and the play before that on 2nd, the guy didn't even try and get to the sticks. So I hear you. I think there's 2 ways to look at it, but you just can't get tackled in bounds. That's just the bottom line.
You got to attack. You got to attack in that spot. But listen, they played a hell of a game. They surprised me. I'm not going to lie. Like I said, I thought that it was a game. I thought it would be a game where Coastal would just be able to continue to score and the pressure would kind of pull ahead. It was fascinating in the sense that, Northern Illinois was just running right at them. And, Coastal was having just as much, if not more success running the ball, but just didn't continue to do it. I think from a running perspective, Coastal averaged 8 yards per carry. Their leading rusher had 8 carries for 100 yards, almost 18 yards per carry. But I think this game really just came down to Coastal being sloppy, stupid penalties. The roughing the punter penalty played huge. It gave Northern Illinois second life, and kind of they drove down and scored a touchdown. I thought that was kind of even though it was the first half, I thought that was kind of like a turning point to where where they realized that okay, if they're going to keep giving Northern Illinois chances, Northern Illinois is going to hang around. But I thought over 1,000 yards of offense, both teams were moving the ball, and it was just about what team was going to get stops. And I think Coastal kind of stopped themselves in a lot of ways.
Oh, a little bit. I don't disagree with that, but I also think it's the story of Coastal season. That defense was just so bad this year. From going from the Black Swarm, which I really think, we all knew McCall and the guys really sprouted last year, right? But it was the defense. In the end, it was the defense last year that I think really propelled them to that great ranking and position in college football. And this year, it let them down, in my opinion. I think it showed again last night. And you have good points about that. But Northern Illinois kind of shot themselves in the foot again, going for that 4th and 1, and where they didn't get it on 3rd and 1, and they did this fake where the quarterback.
I liked it, dude. I kind of like that. I
like the play, but not on 4th. I don't know if I like it on 4th.
Here's the thing: is the way I saw it is they have to matriculate down the field. So they don't have a prayer if it's a minute left and they have to drive down the field. So I think by going forward at that spot, deep in your in your side of the field, kind of allows them to where they knew if they didn't get it, Coastal was going to score and they were going to get a chance to drive back down. To where if they punt it, then Coastal can eat up the whole clock, score, and then it's game over, and give them a minute left where they don't have the type of offense to kind of drive down the field in a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's not going 4 and 4th as much as it was the play. How's that? I do like deception. I do like, trickery, but I'm not sure I'm going to bring it up on 4th and inches where I can just get under the center and pound forward with a sneak.
Right. That's a great point because they were just smashing them in the teeth all game.
Yeah.
So why do you have to get fancy? Why do you have to get cute there? Just line up and get the yard.
Yeah. So that was that. Yeah. I mean, and the Toledo game before that, I watched a little of that. That was a surprising upset. A team that was favored by, I think it closed at 10.5. Middle Tennessee State. It's a theme I might want to talk about a little bit today. I think the MAC was bad this year. It's usually, you got the Maction and you got those guys that come up and sneak you. I mean, obviously
It's
Northern
always a
Illinois as
party.
well. But yeah, I think they were. I just don't think they produced any good teams this year.
Yeah, yeah. I thought
Crazy.
Toledo was the side in that one. Did not bet it,
Yeah.
but I really thought Toledo was going to run away with that one, and they didn't. They kind of. I was surprised by both games, to be honest, yesterday. So, bowl season is a time where I really think there's a lot of opportunity on the board to kind of make your footprint and really, get some early, good numbers on the lines and really take advantage of the variables in the different games, right? The different types of motivation that teams have kind of heading in. Before we get into the bowl picks, Dave, for this week, I wanted to talk a little bit about something that was brought up in that Coastal game. They talked about Grayson McCall, and he might not be long for Coastal Carolina. They talked about the chances of him maybe transferring out, hitting the transfer portal, going to maybe like a UNC who lost Sam Howell. He's very good friends, has a great relationship with Sam Howell, or just maybe like a step up in class. And I thought that was really interesting. Obviously, redshirt sophomore still has plenty of time, but I got the feeling that even if it's not this year, if Coastal Carolina doesn't get it going and take a step forward, he might be out of there. We're seeing, Max Johnson enters the portal, LSU to A&M. Spencer Rattler goes from Oklahoma to South Carolina. It's like, quarterback free agency in college football. But I thought the Grayson McCall thing, if they lose him, they're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, they really are. And maybe I think it'd be good for him. I mean, if he wants a chance to really play at the pro level now, and that's not saying you stay with Coastal the next year and then go eligible. I mean, you're still going to potentially get drafted. You are.
Oh, yeah.
You watch North Dakota State quarterbacks, Lance, you can do it from the smaller schools. Mm-hmm. But if he wants to test himself and really know what he has to work on and where to go and make himself more pro ready, it's not bad. And, North Carolina, obviously you got the hooks there, but also, I mean, it's only a couple hours away from where he is in Coastal already. So it is a local school. He'll still have his family. He'll still have a lot of people. It was an interesting point that they brought up. One that I think when there's smoke, a little bit of fire.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they don't bring that stuff out of nowhere. Absolutely not. So I think it's something to keep an eye on. We love Coastal, made a ton of money on them last year, gave a little bit back this year for sure. They let me down last night, but, we're going to go right back at them. I got like I said, 6-7 games lined up. I do have a play. Sharp Bet members have that on today's action. I'm going to talk about some other games that I have, but, guys, join the Discord, join the team, get in the party. That's how you get all the bets from all our handicappers, all our pro handicappers, and you get access as well to all the tools and information, right? Our college football model, you can get all that, with the Sharp Bets team. So again, links in the description. Come join us. It's going to be a fantastic bowl season. Dave, let's get into the action though, man. It starts today, and it's going to be, nonstop. I got bets lined up, I feel like almost every day until New Year's. Now, we're going to take next week off with it being Christmas. We're going to come back the following week, and we're going to do a little Friday, Saturday. We're going to do Friday playoff action. We're going to do Saturday, January 1st, New Year's bowl show. So we're going to miss next week. 2 shows lined up for the following week. So that gives us a wide range of games that we can kind of pick from and talk about today. But Dave, I'm going to let you lead things off. What games do you have your eye on? I think you might have, your eye on something today.
Oh, I do. And it starts in about 45 minutes. It's the first one of our beautiful potpourri of bowl games today, and that's the Appalachian State versus Western Kentucky. And, this game to me is kind of 2 different styles, right? You got a team that really loves to play defense, loves to play smash mouth football in App State, and then you got a team that likes to air it out in Western Kentucky. Bailey Zappi is putting up crazy numbers. In fact, he can break 2 college records today. He has 56 touchdowns in the year. Joe Burrow is 60, so he needs 4 to get there, right? He only needs less than 300 yards. I think it's 289 to be exact, to pass, who was it? BJ Simon's all-time pass yards, 58-33. So he's got 2 potential records he could pass today with just a 300-yard, 4-touchdown game. I say just because this guy's averaging 420 plus in the air per game and over 4 touchdowns. It's just been sick. And to think about it, Western Kentucky was terrible last year. And I think they averaged 19 points a game, and they just turned around. They brought in someone from the FCS to be their offensive coordinator. And here we go, a 40-plus point game machine. But then you got App State. And App State, man, the things you got to understand about App State, they're giant killers, right? They look for games like this. They are 6-0 all time in bowl games. They play that disrespect card so well. And like I said earlier, they're a team that has a different style. They want to beat you in different ways. They only allow 19 points per game, which is second best in their own conference in the Sun Belt. They're tough. They run the ball really well, and they got a quarterback. He came from Clemson, then Duke. I'm not in love with him in Chase Price, but he can manage a game. And if they can just dominate the way I think they should by running the ball and being able to stop that air attack of Western Kentucky, really force pressure on Bailey Zappi. They have 15 interceptions in their defensive secondary. So they do create that pressure and are opportunistic. I think he got a great number here. It's under 3. I really like App State in this game. When I see defense versus offense, teams that really haven't been pushed and punched like this, and I know WKU, we talked about them the other week. They won 7 in a row until they lost their conference game against UTSA. They did find a hot streak at some point after going 1-4. But I think this is a different style today, and I'll take the defense running team in this game and the Mountaineers of App State.
Yeah, I love it, man. Zach Kittley goes to Texas Tech. He has a ton of connections there, but came over from Houston Baptist to really, engineer that incredible offense led by Bailey Zappi this year. But he's out. He's Texas Tech. So I think that hurts, Western Kentucky. They lost some guys to the portal. Offensive line, they lost Beanie Brooks. I think he was a redshirt defensive back that they had going there. So a couple guys hit the portal for Western Kentucky. The offensive coordinator, the mastermind from Houston Baptist, is out of there. He moves on to Texas Tech. So I think this is a ripe spot. They're playing opponent. A lot of bowl success, Dave. I think you're on the right side here.
Yeah, and then the last point I want to bring, and because it's local to us, when Steph Curry stepped in here the other night and tried to break the 3-point record, the Sixers didn't care about winning that game as much as they did about making sure he didn't want to break that, or he wasn't going to break that record on the Sixers logo. They chased him with Tyball all game. They doubled him up. Think about that with Zappi today, right? I know the Mountaineers have heard about this. I know they understand what records are there. They're not going to let him get to 60. And if he gets there, it's going to be hard earned. I think there's some motivation when you see those, video game like numbers to not let it happen on you. So I think that's another reason. I think App State's going to be fired up to really shut down that offense.
Yeah, no one wants to be known for that, right? Everyone wants to shut that stuff down. So, we could see that. Listen, all you guys watching, we appreciate you in the chat. Our guy Arroyo checking in. He loves the Christmas tree. Man, hey, I had a little Christmas theme in the background today. We're getting ready for the holidays. And my guy Adam checking in. He loves App State as well. So that's a good sign. We got people in, a little momentum on App State. Hopefully we can get a victory. If you want my play for the day, you got to check the Sharp Bets team. You got to sign up. You get free 30-day access with the link below. But listen, I'm going to talk about a game on, I believe this one is next week. I believe it's Wednesday, the Armed Forces Bowl. And Dave, when we talked about the bowl games last week, I said a key thing is going to be the rushing game, and the rushing game translates. And I think we saw it with Coastal and Northern Illinois last night. Both these teams able to run no problem, running off, 6 and 8 yards per clip in the game. And I think that's really a big thing that you look at. And when I saw this game, I'm like, man, Army let us down. Army let me down. They didn't let you down. You were on Navy, but they let me down for sure. And I think they bounced back here against Missouri. It's a opportunity for them to make a statement against an SEC team. I'm laying 3.5 here with Army. They're second in the country in rushing the football, 274 yards per game. They will run right at you. Everybody in the country knows exactly what they're going to do. They still can't stop it. Missouri is definitely 100% not going to be able to stop it. They are 120th in the country against the rush. They let up over 220 yards per game. I think that this is it's never simple. These games are never, easy. There's no layups or slam dunks in college football, but this is a very basic handicap. This is kind of like you have a team with its greatest strength, which is the weakness of another team. And now we're getting a short line because that other team has a lot more respect because of the conference they play in. And again, we talk about motivation, running game, motivation, two things I'm keen on. Who do you think is going to be more motivated? Army coming off that disappointing loss, getting a shot to redeem themselves in this bowl, or Missouri, SEC team, having to play in the Armed Forces Bowl? I just think that Army runs all over them. I'm laying the short number here with the 3.5, and I think it's a winner. I think we're going to the bank on this one, Dave.
Yeah, and this is one that I circled right away as soon as last week during the Navy game, and I pounced Army right away. I followed Missouri. I took them team total over this year. They fell short by a game. They should have fell short by even more. Very disappointing team, I thought. And the run defense was the key. They were absolutely gashed. I remember a game, I think it was against Tennessee. They let up over 300 plus yards. It was just running easy. Florida did it as well. I just think it's a terrible matchup for them, and matchups make bowl games, and Army's really in a great position. Last week's tough against Navy. That was Navy's bowl game. Navy doesn't have a bowl game, right? So Army knew they were playing another day, and I just didn't think they matched Navy's – and
intensity.
Heart's a strong word because they all have heart, but I don't think they matched their,
intensity.
Intensity is the right word. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think they will this week. So I love Army as well. 125th in the nation yards per game rushing, Missouri, and you get to go against the second best rush team. Now I know Army's D isn't real solid. I know you got Basilik. He could be playing. Missouri's got a few ifs out there.
They don't know. They're having a carousel. It's like tryouts.
They don't know.
They got 3 people in there. They don't know who the quarterback is. Right. So it's they got all kinds of things going on at Missouri, man. That's the other thing. Like, if you don't know who your quarterback is, you don't have a quarterback. And, Army's going to be able to score in this one.
I agree. And I think that game, I wanted to double check. Armed Forces game usually gets played up in some weather. Where are they at? Lockheed Martin. I think that it's in D.C. potentially. And I think that plays in Army's favor, too, being a more – you could have some weather and being up here a little colder environment than Missouri is for sure. I think that's another little advantage you got to keep an eye on. I'd pounce now, 3.5. I think it's safe, but don't let it get too far out of control.
Yep, down in Texas, Fort Worth, Texas is where they're playing the Armed Forces Bowl. Yeah.
They sometimes they usually play in D.C., but okay.
They move it around.
Yeah.
But but listen, it was a game. I mean, I didn't pounce on it right away. I'm going to be honest with you because I didn't get the 3 initially when it opened to 3, and then I saw it go up to 4, and I'm like, man, is this going to go back down? And once it snuck back down to 3.5, I grabbed it. I think it's a good number. I think Army wins. Like I said, I think that huge advantage in the rushing game, huge advantage in motivation in this one. So I like Army, man. Let's go to the bank with it. Guys, if you have any best bets in the chat, drop them in, man. We will talk about those best bets for sure. Hopefully everyone can make some money this week and the next 2 weeks, really, because we're off next week because of the holiday, because it's Christmas. We're going to be celebrating. But we're going to come back. We're going to hit you with a double banger the following week, Friday, Saturday, playoffs, January 1st, New Year's. Nothing but money on the board. Dave, let's talk about another one. You got another one in the queue in the next 2 weeks, or we can hammer home.
All right, it's today as well. And I'm looking at a game a little later today. It's the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl. I didn't really know he had one, but he's got one. So I had to go out and pick on my boy out there in Ingleside, California, and where it's Utah State and Oregon State. I've been a huge Oregon State guy all year. What can I say? I like the Beavers. And then, there's nothing wrong with that. They were just a money machine, especially when playing at home. But guess where they weren't a money machine? Anywhere outside of Corvallis. They won one game on the road all year, and it was versus USC. We all know, and I think Helton got fired right after that. They lost at Colorado. Colorado was so bad this year. They lost at Colorado. They couldn't win on the road to save their lives, and now they have to step outside of their friendly confines and bring that running game. We do like the running game, but to a team that actually caught fire at the end of the season in Utah State, they really started to develop an offensive identity. They're more of a passing team. And when they came in and they smashed San Diego State in that MAC championship, Mount West, that's a huge statement game. San Diego State had one of the better defenses in all of football, and Utah State hung a 40 bagel plus on them. And I really think they're riding the momentum well here. I think that they can probably make enough adjustments to combat that running game. And like I said, Oregon State doesn't travel too well. I love the 7 points in this game. I think Utah State is undervalued significantly, and I'm rolling with some Utah States today. I think they're the Aggies. I'll take them, even though I love the Beavers.
Absolutely. So nice one there. It's good. It's gonna be a good game. I think. The line fluctuating between 7.5 with Oregon State and the Aggies. Aggies did come on strong at the end of the year. Oregon State has that good rushing game, so definitely a good matchup that we're gonna keep an eye on. Arroyo checking in, man. Yo, Eric wants to know Fresno State live bet at 10. He doesn't like the big number. He wants to get it at 10 live. That only works if they start slow, my man. That only works if
Yeah.
they start slow. I think that this game is really tough to really handicap in a way because you don't know what's going on with the quarterback situation with Fresno, right? And UTEP is a team that could be extremely motivated in this matchup, getting a big number. Now, it's on paper, these two teams, Fresno should bulldoze them, right? But is UTEP going to be motivated enough? I mean, you look at the year that they had last year for them to be playing in a bowl. This is everything for this team. How much do you think that plays into it, Dave?
A lot, I do, but then I look at the talent differential and specifically the schedule differential, and I'm like, this team UTEP beat Bethune-Cookman. They beat New Mexico State, who knows one of the absolute worst teams in all of college football. I mean, that's what got them in this bowl game, right? They beat Rice. I think we got a significant talent mismatch. I think we got so the motivation is going to be absolutely all on UTEP, but I think if you can just understand the gap here between the talent and the schedule, I do think this is one of those games that Fresno, I think, really flexes their muscle. I think they can win this one big. Now, it's the motivation, though. I think you brought up a great point, and we'll know that early, right? I think we'll know that early.
Yeah.
So
I think that
might not be a bad play.
they have to hang in there. Live bets definitely, but if you can get Fresno State at some point in this game at 10, pull the trigger. But I think UTEP's going to come out and give them a fight, and if they do, right, you're going to see early success. So maybe you do get that number live if UTEP's able to come down and put one on the board real quick, kind of stun them with a quick shot. You could definitely see that playing out. Would I lay the big number with Fresno? Probably not. I think it's like 14.5 now, right?
I saw 12.5 earlier. It might have snuck up that high.
Oh, it is. It's starting to come down. Yeah, 12.5. Yeah, you're right. Yep. So we're right in that range.
I look at common opponent. They did play Boise State. Boise State beat UTEP by 41. Fresno's worst game this year was against Boise, and they lost by 26. So if I give that a simple handicap, it's a 15-point game, right? But no, all seriousness, I think looking at a little bit of that angle, Boise probably could have won by 60. And Fresno just had a bad game. It's just one of those days. So I just look at those common opponents, and I know that the one time they tried to step up in class, they got beat down like Mike Tyson versus me. And I think it's going to be I think Fresno is decidedly better. It's a tough one, though, with 12.5. You're right, because that's back
sometimes
that screens
motivation can only take you so far. You know what I mean? And that's the key. Like, motivation can only take you so far. It'll be a fun one to watch. I mean, I'm interested to see UTEP and how they kind of respond to this matchup. Like, can they really, stun them early and try and make a game out of this, try to hang in there. But definitely play it live, man. See if you can get it under 10. You know what I mean? It'd be an awesome move. Our guy Eric, big UFC guy, a little Black Beast tonight. I'm on Arroyo. I don't know what you're on, but hit me up in the DMs and get that stuff over. But I got one more game I want to talk about coming up next week. We're gonna go all the way to the end of the year on next Thursday, and it's gonna be Tennessee laying the number to Purdue. We got it at 3.5 early. Sharp Bet members got that number. We're seeing it kind of move up a little bit, 4.5 in some spots. But I think Tennessee, this is a program, a lot of momentum, right? They got better as the season went on. Josh Heupel comes over. The offense is legit. They run a ton of plays. They move fast. They play with tempo. They get results. This Tennessee team is 17th in the country running the football, 212 yards per game. We talked about how important that is in these types of games. They're going to gas that Purdue defense. Purdue does not have David Bell in this matchup, their big wide receiver. They can't run the ball at all. They're 126th in the country, 84 yards per game running. So you have a team that's very successful running, that's going to play with tempo and wear out that defense against a team that is really one dimensional. I think the Tennessee secondary is pretty good. I think the Tennessee defense is pretty good. So I think that they kind of run away with this one. I think Purdue hangs in there for a little bit in the first half, like we've seen them do so much, but step up in conference, step up in competition, very difficult offense to prepare for. I think the Tennessee Volunteers are able to get it done in this spot. And I like them. And I think, Dave, as we get into the summer, we get a little bit nicer weather. We start digging into our futures for next year. I'm going to be very interested in Tennessee's number because I think that Heupel's done a great job with that program. This year, I think they definitely made the right hire, and I'm going to be, really tuned in to see if they can take a leap next year.
Yeah, I like the pick. Tennessee showed up really good in a lot of advanced metrics too. I mean, they were even topping in the top 20 in SP plus and some other metrics, just based upon the way they play, the pace, the efficiency. But they actually were quite unlucky in some games this year. I mean, they played a tough schedule too. Out of conference, they had Pitt early on, and we saw what Pitt ended up being. And they battled them pretty well. It was a high flying game. So yeah, I like Tennessee. I like them in their growth too. I'm with you 100%. I think there's some future there. They got to decide what to do at quarterback. I don't know if Hooker's back. He was a Vodtech transfer, Hendon Hooker, right?
Yeah,
I haven't looked at his eligibility, but yeah, they got some good things going on for sure. I like that pick.
Yeah. I mean, with the portal, you can figure some stuff out quick, man. I mean, listen, the quarterback's obviously the most important position. They're going to have to, get that addressed. But, I think that with that offense, it becomes very appealing. Like, I mean, you look at Spencer Rattler, like, I don't know. I mean, maybe Heupel didn't want him, but, like, I was surprised he went to South Carolina. Like,
yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm going to the SEC and I'm going with a program that is just, I don't know. I mean, I don't think they have much of a future in the next couple of years. Do you?
No, and I thought he was dead back going from Arizona. Like I thought he'd just go settle there and first the Pac-12 defenses just rip them and be good, right? But here he's going to get eaten for lunch.
Yeah, like why would you want to play that SEC schedule with that defenses with a
no O-line?
Yeah, with no O-line, no team around you. Like I was shocked. I mean, to be honest, I didn't see that coming at all. It seems like I mean, Tennessee, I would have been like, oh, okay, you can put up huge numbers. It's still the SEC. You can put up huge numbers in the SEC. He can play in a fun offense. I get that. South Carolina, I mean, what do they have going for him?
Yeah.
Nothing.
The weather.
Yeah. So very interesting move, I thought. But the portal, I think we're going to see a lot of people, moving and shaking, probably not done. It's like, we had the coaching carousel, and now it's almost like the quarterback carousel. So Slovis went in the portal. He hopped in there.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of big names, man. It's gonna be crazy. This is the good stuff because college football is gonna have an off season now. All this chaos, and it's almost like it used to be just recruiting.
Yeah, and my favorite is Max Johnson, and I'll just touch on that real fast. Obviously, have a little love for Brad Johnson, being a Florida State fan, winning a Super Bowl. That's his dad. But just seeing that fake Southern accent coming to your town and being like, I'm out. Like, I'm out. Like, I see how you yell at quarterbacks on the sideline. And my brother's one of the number one recruits, and he's going to A&M. He's a tight end. I can throw to him. And Jimbo's a quarterback whisperer. I mean, he got 3 straight quarterbacks out of Florida State drafted in the first round, including Jameis, EJ Manuel. So he, I think Chris Ricks might have been the other one. But I'm telling you, it's a really nice move, but it tells you a lot about Brian Kelly, in my opinion. The things I already thought about Brian Kelly, I think a lot of the kids already know too. So I thought that was a really that's Auburn, right? I mean LSU to A&M. That's a huge.
That's a huge get. It's a huge get. Yeah, and it's
and Cal's out of one piece. Zach, the A&M, he's like, oh yeah, I'm out.
I ain't gonna be here. But that's the thing is he saw what LSU did and he was just like, "It's gonna be a no from me, dog. Like I'm gonna get it from them, and
That's a
I'm gonna
no.
get this done, man." He's like, like this is not me, man. And
Yeah.
that's interesting. And it's definitely a blow to LSU. I don't think it shows well, but it's great. Like college football is going to be crazy with all the movement. And I think this is just the beginning. I think we're going to see it every year.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, I got one I will be releasing later this week, so keep an eye on that through Twitter. I love the UTSA San Diego State game. Just going to hold off
Mm.
because there's some movement still and some players. But before we get out, I will throw one right after Christmas. I like ECU, the Pirates, against Boston College. They're getting 3 points in that game. And really, where my eyes are lined up, ECU has been a team that has really exceeded some expectations this year, where BC has downplayed or played under their expectations. They were really a team. They were the best passing team back last year in the ACC, and they came out and they were very stale this year. I know the quarterback getting hurt was a big deal, but still, they didn't play well, and then they got punched in the mouth the last couple of weeks. ECU, on the other hand, played hard, played tough, had a 4-game win streak just to get into the bowls. Played Cincy good for about 2.5, 3 quarters, but couldn't, the talent difference really showed late. But I like, you talked about momentum, right? You talked about motivation. Mm-hmm. And I think ECU is one of those teams that's playing hard for their coach. And I really like them in this matchup. I'm going to take the Pirates in that game, December 27th, +3.
That's a nice one. That's a nice one. ECU let me down against Cincinnati, so I'm not ready to jump right back on that Pirate shit.
Yeah.
But I hear you with the motivation, man. That's just me. Like sometimes teams just make me so mad. I'm just like, yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing that we have a long off season because Coastal Carolina is in the doghouse as well. I'm very unhappy with the fact that they took some money from me this year after what they did, how good they did last year. I just thought, I keep going back to Coastal, but real quick, for now we're going to bring Lexi on. We're going to talk about a couple games that she likes. But I just felt like this year, like I knew coming in Coastal, it's like, all right, it's different when you're the hunted instead of being, sneaking up on everybody. Everyone's kind of zeroing in. They circle you on the schedule. It's going to be harder. I just thought they looked sloppy the entire year, man. Like I thought that they looked uninterested in a way the entire year.
Yeah, I think it's hard, man. When you come off that magical of a season, it's hard to really hit the reset button and come in with a fresh mind and hunt again. And they were hunted. And I think you're right. That's what you saw. You saw, they wanted to have that same motivation. They wanted to have that same fire and passion, but it wasn't there. And the App State game killed them, right? I mean, they were squeaking by teams. They were still undefeated. And then when they hit that brick wall,
that was brutal. You can't let Chase Bryce beat you, dude. He's garbage.
No,
I mean, listen, they're the side against Western Kentucky. I think Western Kentucky. I mean, no offensive coordinator, man. Like, I mean, he's like the whole team, the whole damn team. He's like the whole team.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see how that one plays out. Love App State today, though. But Coastal let me down this year. Let's bring on Lexi, see what she's like, and she's been keeping an eye on these bowl games as well. And there she is. She's getting ready for her playoff game. Now, you're going to join us next Friday. Is that correct, Lexi? Can I put you on the spot?
Mm-hmm.
And, for the New Year's Eve playoff games, we're going to go over both games, so it's going to be a lot of fun. So I can't wait to see how excited you are that day. You're going to be like a nervous wreck.
Absolutely. I'm dreading it. I'm excited, but anxious. Let's just say anxious across the board.
Yeah, definitely.
It's up to 8 already.
Huh?
It's up to 8. It keeps moving.
It is
moving Georgia's way. The other
one get it to 10.
Yeah.
Would you
I don't catch any bets on my own team because I just feel like it's bad luck either way for me. But no, you mentioned that San Diego State UTSA game. That's one of the ones I'm pretty intrigued about. Especially because the season that UTSA had, then getting blown out by North Texas, and it just, I feel like, maybe they'll be on some kind of redemption, but then you got the Fighting Brady Hoax, they're relentless and I think it's going to be honestly a game in the air. It's going to be probably a really high scoring game. So it'll be entertaining. I'm looking forward to that.
UTSA is always fun to watch, man. Like they bring it.
They do.
Yeah,
It's one of those. Whenever I see them on, I'll just I'm gonna watch that because it's just gonna be a good game.
And you make a great point about that loss to North Texas because they rebounded and beat Western Kentucky. I thought it was one of those where they finally got that loss, right? They were one of the last undefeated teams besides Georgia, and I was like, oh, here we go. It's going to all unravel now, and they came and fought back. I think that shows well how that team's coached and how tight they are. So that's a good point.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. Another one too that I am is the Cheez-It Bowl with Clemson and Iowa State. Clemson is just in shambles. That's going to be a good one. It's on the 29th, the Holiday Bowl. Or, I'm sorry, the Cheez-It Bowl. In Orlando.
I think that's going to be incredibly interesting, and just how we talk about how important motivation is, right? And you look at these two teams. Both had disappointing seasons, right? Iowa State, people were talking about could they win the Big 12 before the season started, right? This was going to be the year if they could beat Oklahoma. And this was the year that they should have beat Oklahoma. I know I wrote them up for Yahoo. I'm like, hey, man, they could be in the playoffs, outside shot, right?
Well, and then, the whole Matt Campbell, he's so great and stuff. And it just kind of it was very underwhelming this season.
Yeah, and Clemson's a disaster. From a hey, expectations to reality, it's just been a nightmare season for them. And you're seeing Dabo, he's already complaining. He's starting to say, he was ridiculous stuff. It needs to be about education. And I'm like, bro, who are you trying to fool here? Yeah, this is not, you're embarrassing yourself, man. This is not about education. He doesn't want people to go to the transfer portal because he knows, they're not going to buy his smoke anymore. He loses Venable to Oklahoma. If he doesn't win next year, I would be surprised. Do you think he ducks out and gets out of Clemson?
I absolutely think so. I don't know. I really do, because the way he's just complained, I feel like it's as if you weren't paying those players privately, now that the playing field's evened out and all public, what do you have to offer? You know what I mean? And then just how he's been, it's just, it's going to be interesting. I think that if they lose, and maybe in a bad fashion, which I don't know if Matt Campbell can do that anyways, but it's going to be interesting. And that's why I'm excited to see how it goes down, because it's been his meltdown has been entertaining so far, to say the least.
It has, but you guys got to understand, there's probably nobody with a bigger ego than Dabo Swinney. And for him now to be, punched down and beat down, I think this is Dabo's world. This is what he wants. He wants to play that. And that's how they beat Bama those few times too, right? He's able to motivate his team from the bottom than that is from the top. I think this is Dabo's revenge story. And I don't see him bowing out with one more bad year. I really think he tries to stay and stick it. And I'm not a big Dabo guy, but I just know this guy. He's like you said, he's out there spitting so many dumb things to hope that DJ doesn't leave or someone else. But the point being, they actually played well the last month of the season. Now, I know Venable's out, and I know some other things. It'll be interesting. My handicap, and Mark, we talked about last week, will be, can Dabo actually inspire his team when they're not in the playoffs? Can he actually coach a team in the game? It doesn't mean much. And that's really an angle where I think Matt Campbell can. I don't know if Dabo can, but I do think Clemson's playing better. And that defense is still nasty. No matter what you say, it's nasty.
Yeah, the defense is real good. And, on the other side, Iowa State, they have a ton of seniors, too. So it's I think they're going to be motivated in this game. I think that they, I don't think they're going to sleepwalk through this at all. And I think the handicap really comes down to, can Dabo give us the best version of Clemson this year? And if they can, I think they're probably the side. But if they don't, then they're definitely not the side. And it's probably not going to be pretty. I mean, it's not a pretty game to begin with. These teams aren't scoring a ton. But I'm just saying that, it could be, it could really fall apart for them in the second half, and they might not be competitive.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Brock Purdy, I'm not a big fan of. And versus that defense, but like you said, if Clemson can't move the ball and they're not motivated, then they'll do enough.
Yeah, it turns into field position, and then it turns into field goals, and it turns into one big play, one explosive play, and turnovers, and all the things that Clemson's kind of struggled with. And I do think Clemson's played a little bit better as the season kind of going on, as they kind of figured themselves out, kind of what type of talent they have and how they need to play to win. and kind of accepted their identity. But that identity is very similar to Iowa State's. And Iowa State has always embraced it and is always willing to go out there and try and win that way. So it's going to be a good one. I kind of go back and forth. I didn't bet this one, but I'm going to be very interested to see how, Clemson performs in this situation, because they could be extremely motivated to kind of end the season the right way, or they could be very unmotivated.
Yeah.
Agreed. Great game, Lex. Great pick. Great game. I can't.
Yeah, definitely. Before we get out of here, we got anything else we want to hit the audience with?
No, just excited for when we meet on New Year's Eve and talk about my team.
I know. It's going to be great. The playoffs, it's going to be a lot of fun. Harbaugh, Saban, Kirby, and the little engine that finally could, Cincinnati in the playoffs. That number has been stable, Dave, 13.5. Pretty surprising. We're going to have plenty to talk about when we come back. Not next week, the following week, New Year's Eve, betting for breakfast, playoff edition, followed by the New Year's Day party, making money in 2022. Guys, hopefully everybody hits all their bets these next 2 weeks, gets on a good start in bowl season. We're going to finish it with a bang when we talk to you guys next. Thanks for hanging out, and good luck this week.
Thanks, guys.